The council
Victory
chamber of
shall
the
be
Archean
ours,
Empire
for we
was
fight
usually a
with
place of
honor and
pride,
unity.
strength, and iron discipline. But today, it felt like a tomb. Every torch along the walls burned low, and every official in the room carried the same expression, fear mixed with stubborn pride. High Emperor Ralaran stood at the center of the chamber, his silver-blue skin dim under the heavy lights. His voice, usually deep and confident, sounded worn. We cannot stop the Drenther Dominion any longer. Our fleets are shattered. Our colonies are falling. If we continue this alone, our people will not survive. No one spoke, but the silence screamed louder than words. Princess Erin stood among the assembled leaders, her tall frame straight and tense. She was known across the empire as a warrior, 6.5 feet tall, hardened by battle since she was 17. Her violet eyes had seen more death than any noble should. She hated what she was hearing, but she also knew the truth in her father's words. For 30 years, the Drenther had pushed deeper into Archean space. Once proud border worlds had gone dark, their signals fading into silence. The Empire's armies fought with honor, blade to blade, but honor had not saved them. General Vasker slammed a clawed fist on the table. And your answer is humans? A young species from a single small world? Soft beings with no armor, no natural weapons? They break their bones falling off trees. Erin remained quiet, but deep inside she agreed. Humans were small. Their bodies were weak. Their lifespan short. They were not born warriors. Depending on them felt like humiliation. But the war was ending everything. Her father spoke again. The humans sent a reply to our request. They are willing to help, but only if we agree to a formal alliance through marriage. The room exploded in outrage. Elder advisors shouted. Generals demanded refusal. A counselor even hissed that marrying a human was equal to surrender. Erin closed her eyes. She felt a deep, cold pull inside her chest. If someone did not accept, her people would die. Slowly, she stepped forward. The room fell silent, as if the walls themselves were listening. I will do it, she said. Her voice was calm, but her heart pounded like a war drum. The Emperor stared at his daughter, pained. Erin, you do not have to sacrifice your future. I am third in line for the throne, she answered. My brothers lead the fleets. I have no children. My life belongs to the Empire. If this marriage saves even one world, then I accept. The decision was made. Within days, the human delegation arrived at the capital. Their ship was tiny compared to Archean cruisers, but it landed with quiet precision. Erin watched their steps carefully as they entered the hall. 5 humans. Only 5. Could 5 save an entire empire? The humans looked fragile, short, thin, soft-skinned. Their appearances varied, but none looked like a warrior. They lacked claws, fangs, or thick armor plates like other species. Ambassador Helen Ward bowed respectfully. Your Majesty, thank you for receiving us. This is the individual chosen for the alliance, Evan Cole. A man stepped forward. About 6 feet tall. Brown hair. Gray eyes. Calm expression. Erin evaluated him like a soldier. No scars. No armor. No weapons. His posture relaxed, almost casual. He bowed. Princess Erin, it's an honor to meet you. His tone was steady. No fear. No trembling. That confused her more than anything. Evan Cole was supposedly a diplomatic specialist. A speaker. A bridge builder. Not a fighter. And this was the human they sent to save an empire? Erin felt a weight settle in her chest, a mixture of doubt, duty, and something she couldn't yet name. The fate of her people now depended on someone who didn't even look like he could lift her ceremonial sword. But the alliance was sealed. The path was chosen. And deep in her heart, Erin sensed one truth rising like a warning. Nothing about this human was what he appeared to be. 2 days after their brief but tense introduction, the wedding ceremony took place in the Archean Hall of Triumph, a massive chamber built to honor warriors, not diplomats. Ancient banners hung from the ceiling. Statues of fallen heroes lined the walls. Everything around Erin reminded her what she was sacrificing and why. She wore ceremonial armor handed down through generations, plates engraved with the names of every champion in her bloodline. Each engraving felt heavier than steel. But Evan Cole wore a simple human suit. No armor. No symbols of honor. He looked painfully out of place among the towering Archeans. Some council members scoffed openly. During the ritual oath, Aaron spoke the ancient warrior words with steady clarity. Evan answered without hesitation, using flawless Archean language. His pronunciation was perfect. His tone held conviction. She blinked. Humans rarely mastered the language. Even scholars struggled with its sharp tones. This diplomatic man had studied far more than expected. Then came the blade exchange. Aaron gave him a dagger forged by her mother, a weapon with history, blood, and legacy. Evan accepted it with surprising respect. In return, he gave her a simple, rugged combat knife. No decorations, no gems. A tool of survival, not ceremony. This blade has been with me for 10 years, Evan said quietly. It has saved my life many times. Aaron's eyes narrowed. What kind of diplomat needed a life-saving blade? But the ceremony ended quickly, leaving her with more questions than answers. That night, the palace gave them separate chambers as tradition demanded. Aaron sat alone in her quarters, still wearing her armor, staring at the knife Evan had given her. It carried scratches and marks. It had seen real danger. A soft knock broke her thoughts. "May I come in?" Evan's voice. Calm. Controlled. "Enter," she said. He stepped inside wearing simple training clothes. No cloak of diplomacy. No false politeness. He scanned her room with interest, especially the shelves displaying her battle achievements. "You fought in 12 major campaigns," he said. 3 single-handed victories. "You researched me. You are my partner now. I wanted to understand who you are." Aaron rose to her full height, towering over him. "Then tell me who you are, Evan Cole. You speak languages, smile in ceremonies, and bow politely. But your eyes are not the eyes of a man who has seen peace. Who are you really?" Evan did not break eye contact. "I'm someone who finishes the job he is given." "So your job is to smile at meetings?" she asked sharply. "Sometimes." He paused. "Other times my job is different." "What kind of job?" He hesitated, and for the first time she sensed he was choosing his words with care. "The kind that helps alliances survive. The kind that stops threats before they reach your throne." That answer chilled her more than any battlefield. He stepped back toward the door. "For what it's worth, Princess, humans are rarely what they seem. Hand us a disadvantage, and we turn it into a weapon." Before she could speak, he left. Aaron sat down slowly, unsettled. The human she had married was not a weak scholar, not a simple diplomat. There was something hidden under his calm voice, something dangerous. 5 days later, she found out how dangerous. They were preparing to depart for their assigned border colony residence when the emergency alarms blared violently through the palace. Screens flickered to life. General Vasker appeared, panic crackling in his voice. "Princess Aaron, a Drenther battle fleet is approaching Meridian Colony. 20 warships. The settlement won't survive." Aaron felt the blood drain from her face. Meridian housed families, thousands of them. Children, workers, civilians. "We must go," she began. "Negative. Your father orders you to remain in the capital," Vasker snapped. Evan, standing quietly beside her, finally spoke. "Which colony?" "Meridian. And it does not concern." "I'll handle it," Evan said simply. Both Aaron and Vasker stared. "You," the general barked. "You are one man." "Yes." Evan nodded once. "One is enough." The room froze. Aaron grabbed his arm. "This is suicide, Evan. 20 warships. Thousands of soldiers." He looked down at her hand, then into her eyes. "Princess, this is what I actually do. The diplomat face is only a cover." And in that moment, for the first time, Aaron saw the truth. The real Evan Cole. Cold. Sharp. Focused. A man built for something far more dangerous than diplomacy. A man who terrified even her. And yet, he was her husband. Aaron had always believed she understood war. She had fought on burning front lines, seen soldiers fall beside her, and watched empires break under the weight of defeat. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared her for what she witnessed that day. The journey to Meridian Colony took 6 tense hours. Evan spent the entire time in the ship's armory. When Aaron followed him, she expected to see him checking a sidearm or studying a map. Instead, he opened a sealed case she had never noticed before. Inside was gear she didn't recognize. A sleek black suit reinforced with strange patterns. Compact weapons without the heavy bulk of Archean rifles. Small devices that hummed with hidden power. "What is all this?" Aaron asked. "My real equipment," Evan replied, pulling on the suit with practiced movements. You told everyone you're a diplomat. I am. That part's true. Diplomacy is the first tool. He clipped something to his wrist, a small, circular device. But when talking fails, I use other tools. She stared at him, anger rising. You lied to me. I followed my assignment, he corrected calmly. If your people knew what I really was, they would never have accepted the alliance. What are you? He paused while loading a magazine into an unfamiliar weapon. An operative. Special Response Division. My job is solving problems no one else can solve. How many lives have you taken? He didn't flinch. Enough that I stopped counting. Aaron felt the weight of his words. It wasn't pride or shame in his voice. It was routine. Habit. He wasn't a warrior. He was something more dangerous. A weapon with a heartbeat. When they landed near Meridian, Evan ordered Aaron to stay in orbit in a stealth shuttle. You will not go down there with me, he said. You don't command me, she snapped. You want to help your people? Then watch and learn. Honor won't save anyone today. His tone wasn't disrespectful. It was simply the truth. And she hated that it was true. Aaron disobeyed anyway. She took her own stealth shuttle, following him at a distance. If he was going to die, she refused to let it happen alone. From high above, she watched the battlefield unfold. The Drenther fleet arrived first, 20 massive warships surrounding Meridian like predators. Their bombardment began, hammering the colony's shields. Dropships rained down, 30 of them, carrying over 2,000 soldiers. The colony's defenses activated, but they were laughably weak. Meridian was a mining center, not a fortress. Aaron tracked Evan's life signal as he slipped into the colony via a maintenance tunnel. What is he doing? She whispered. The battle is happening outside. Why is he underground? She watched him move room to room, tunnel to tunnel, like a shadow. No hesitation. No wasted movement. Then the explosions began. A mining shaft collapsed, consuming an entire Drenther unit under tons of rock. A power conduit overloaded, incinerating a squad in a flash of lightning. Pressure doors sealed shut, then vented the atmosphere in the entire section. Aaron realized the horrifying truth. He wasn't fighting the Drenther head-on. He was using the colony itself as a weapon. Every hallway, every pipe, every hatch, every malfunction, every accident, all controlled by one man. Evan Cole moved like a ghost, appearing behind isolated groups, striking silently, then disappearing before reinforcements arrived. His weapons made no sound. His suit left no trail. To the Drenther soldiers, it must have felt like the colony had turned against them. Aaron watched in stunned silence. She had seen elite warriors. She had fought alongside champions. But she had never seen anything like this. He didn't fight with honor. He fought with precision, with strategy, with ruthless efficiency. 2 hours later, panic spread through the Drenther ranks. They were losing to something they couldn't see, something they couldn't predict. Their commander called for orbital support. Warships angled their cannons toward the surface, preparing to obliterate Evan's last known position. No, Aaron breathed. He can't survive that. But Evan wasn't in that position anymore. He had moved into the mining laser control chamber. Massive industrial beams meant to cut asteroids. Aaron's sensors detected the sudden pivot of the lasers. Oh no, she whispered. He's not going to. The lasers fired. The beams shot into space, slicing through the hull of 3 Drenther warships. They tore through metal like paper. The remaining ships scrambled to escape, but Evan fired the lasers again. 2 more warships exploded into burning debris. The surviving 15 vessels fled the system, abandoning ground troops. Without support, the Drenther soldiers surrendered within an hour. Aaron stared at the screens, her breath trembling. One man, against an army, against a fleet. And he had won. Not with brute strength, not with armor, not with honor, but with human adaptability, with strategy, with a terrifying calm. Aaron whispered to herself, "This is the man I married." Meridian was saved, but the victory left Aaron shaken. She had witnessed many battles, but nothing like what Evan had done. He didn't fight like a warrior. He fought like a calculation, cold, exact, unstoppable. When she found him at the colony's central docks, he was helping wounded civilians, not celebrating. His suit was scratched, splattered with blood, and his hands trembled from exhaustion. Yet he worked quietly, refusing any praise. "You're hurt," Aaron said softly. "Only bruises," he replied, avoiding eye contact. But she saw something new in his eyes, fatigue so deep it bordered on sorrow. Still, before she could ask more, palace communication cut in with an urgent message. Princess Erin, General Vasker said, there is a new threat. A hired assassin. A champion of the Zarek clans. Erin felt her heart drop. The Zarek were feared across the galaxy, towering warriors built for killing. Who is the champion? She asked. Vasker hesitated. Dravik the Unbroken. Erin froze. Dravik was a living nightmare, 9 feet tall, for arms armored like stone, undefeated in 300 years of combat. He had slain champions from dozens of species. He fought not for money, but for glory. He's coming here, Vasker continued. To kill the royal family. To kill you. Silence filled the bridge of their returning shuttle. Evan stood beside her, listening carefully. His expression shifted, calm turning to something sharper. A champion, he murmured. That's inconvenient. Inconvenient. Erin snapped. He's a monster. Maybe, Evan replied. But champions fight for pride. That means they're predictable. Erin stared at him. You don't seriously think you can face him? Evan turned his head slightly. I don't think. I know. Back in the capital, tension choked the palace halls. Guards tripled their numbers. Defensive cannons activated. Every corridor buzzed with fear. Erin entered the war room with her father, Vasker, and high-ranking commanders. Evan was there too, leaning against a wall, arms crossed, studying the layout of the arena grounds without a word. A hologram of Dravik flickered above the table, a massive creature nearly twice Evan's size, each arm holding a different weapon, armor thicker than steel. Your Majesty, Vasker said, we must deploy forces in these zones. Dravik cannot be allowed to reach the palace. He'll cut through your troops, Evan said quietly, not lifting his gaze from the hologram. Vasker bristled. Human, hold your tongue. You don't understand war. Actually, Evan said, finally standing straight, I understand it better than you. Dravik doesn't want to sneak into the palace. He wants glory. He wants to be seen. So you suggest what? Erin's father asked. A duel, Evan answered. Public. Controlled. Predictable. Erin felt her chest clamp tight. No, absolutely not. You're not facing him alone. Evan turned to her. His gray eyes steady. If I don't, he'll find you. He'll kill your guards. Your commanders. Then he'll kill you. I'm the only one who can control the field. That's suicide, she whispered. He stepped closer. Princess, I survived Meridian. Not because I'm strong. Not because I'm fast. But because I understand how enemies think. Dravik is strong, yes. But he's arrogant. That's a weakness. Before she could argue, a broadcast hijacked every screen in the capital. A towering figure appeared, Dravik himself, standing on his warship's bridge. His deep, guttural voice echoed through the city. People of Archeon, send me your greatest warrior. Let them meet me in honorable combat. If they win, I leave. If they die, your royal line ends. His forearms spread wide. You have 24 hours. The signal cut. Panic erupted. Citizens cried in the streets. Commanders shouted orders. Evan looked disturbingly calm. He'll expect a giant warrior. A champion. Someone impressive. Erin grabbed his wrist. Not you. He looked down at her hand, then at her face. For a moment, the killer she had seen at Meridian faded, replaced by something softer, an understanding, a connection she didn't expect. Erin, he said quietly, your people are my people now. Your enemies are my enemies. And your safety, he paused, is my responsibility. Why? She whispered. Because I'm your husband, he said gently. And humans protect what matters to them. Those simple words hit her harder than any battlefield revelation. Her chest tightened. Her breath caught. Evan turned away, heading toward the armory. Tomorrow, he said, I face Dravik. And I win. Erin watched him walk away, fear and something deeper twisting inside her. She had married a human for peace. But now she understood the truth. He wasn't just a diplomat. He wasn't just a warrior. He was something the galaxy had never seen before. A human who refused to lose. The entire capital seemed to hold its breath when dawn arrived. The arena, usually reserved for ceremonies and ancient challenges, had been transformed into a fortified battleground. Towering stone pillars formed natural cover. Sand covered the floor, hiding traps from duels centuries old. The stands overflowed with Archeans who had come not to cheer, but to witness something they believed impossible. A human facing Dravik the Unbroken, the undefeated titan of the Zarek clans. Erin stood in the royal balcony with her father and high officers, her fists clenched until her knuckles turned white. The city roared outside, but inside the arena, everything felt strangely quiet, like the silence before a storm. Dravik arrived first, making an entrance designed to intimidate. His four arms stretched outward, each holding a weapon forged from Zarek steel. His armor plates gleamed like obsidian. His roar shook the arena walls, sending shockwaves through the crowd. He wanted them to fear him. He expected it. Then Evan walked in. No roar. No intimidation. No heavy armor. Just simple light battle gear, 2 short blades, and a calm stride, as if he were entering a training hall instead of facing a monster twice his size. To the crowd, he looked insignificant. To Dravik, he looked laughable. To Erin, he looked terrifyingly brave. Ryan, the older human operative who had arrived the night before, sat in the crowd disguised as a visitor. Erin spotted him easily. His eyes were sharp, following every movement, studying the battlefield like he was analyzing a puzzle. "The human is outmatched," Erin's father whispered. "He knows," Ryan muttered. "But he's not here to match strength. He's here to control the fight." The dual horn sounded. Dravik attacked instantly, a blur of blades and armored weight crashing toward Evan with devastating force. The crowd gasped, but Evan was no longer there. He moved like liquid, slipping between attacks, feet barely touching the ground. He didn't swing back. He didn't strike. He only observed, eyes tracking every motion, every rhythm, every flaw. Erin understood first. "He's studying him," she whispered. Ryan nodded. "Exactly." Dravik grew irritated. He swung harder, faster, sending shockwaves through the sand. Evan dodged every strike by inches, almost casually. 3 minutes passed. The crowd booed, thinking Evan was cowardly. Dravik bellowed in rage at being ignored. Then Evan struck. Just one quick movement, a tap of his blade against a joint in Dravik's lower arm. Barely a scratch. But Dravik snarled in pain, not expecting anyone to target that spot. Erin stiffened. "That joint, that's a weak point." Ryan smirked. And Evan just confirmed it. What followed wasn't a duel. It was a dismantling. Evan darted in and out like a shadow, hitting precise points. Nerve clusters, tendon gaps, armor hinges. Never staying long enough for Dravik to retaliate. Every strike weakened the giant. Every move drained his stamina. Every second tilted the fight in Evan's favor. Dravik's movements became slower, sloppier, angrier. "You fight without honor." Dravik roared as 2 of his arms began to fail him. "I fight to survive," Evan replied evenly. Erin felt her heart racing. She had seen champions fight their entire lives. They swung with pride and glory, clashing like legends. But Evan's style was pure logic. No wasted motion. No pride. Only purpose. After 10 brutal minutes, Dravik limped, 3 arms barely functioning, breath ragged. His armor was intact, but the warrior inside was breaking. Evan circled him with calm precision. "This ends now." Dravik lunged one last time, putting every ounce of strength into a desperate final attack. The arena shook under his weight. Evan sidestepped. Just a small shift, timed perfectly. Dravik's blade slammed into the ground, stuck for a single heartbeat. That was enough. Evan slid behind him and delivered a precise strike to the back of the knee, the exact place Erin knew Zarek physiology couldn't handle pressure. Dravik collapsed. The impossible happened. The undefeated champion fell to the ground, unable to continue. The arena froze. Silent. Stunned. Evan stood over him, but didn't strike the final blow. Instead, he spoke loudly so all could hear. "Go home. Tell your people what happens when they threaten my wife." Gasps rippled through the arena. Erin's breath caught in her chest. Not because of the victory, but because of those last words. Dravik lay defeated, staring at Evan with something unexpected: respect. Evan turned and walked away, blood dripping from dozens of cuts. With each step, he looked more human and more extraordinary. Ryan rushed forward to help him, but Evan waved him off, trying to stay upright. Erin couldn't hold back anymore. She ran down from the balcony, pushing through guards, her heart pounding harder than in any battle she'd ever fought. When she reached him, he collapsed into her arms. "You're hurt," she said, voice shaking. Evan tried to smile. Worth it, you're safe. Erin tightened her grip, refusing to let him fall. In that moment, she realized something she had never expected. She was no longer bound to him by politics or duty. The man she thought weak had saved her people twice. He had faced a monster for her. He had nearly died for her. And she felt something fierce, something new, something terrifyingly real bloom in her chest. She was falling for him. Evan remained unconscious for 2 full days after the duel. Erin never left his side. She sat nearby through every hour, watching the monitors, listening to the doctors whisper words she hated: internal bleeding, fractured ribs, nerve shock. Every time she looked at him, memories of the arena flashed in her mind. His final smile, his collapse, his blood on her hands. When his eyes finally opened, she almost cried. "You're awake," she breathed. "How long?" he asked, voice hoarse. 2 days. "You should be dead." He tried to sit up, grimacing when pain shot through his body. "But I'm not. And we still have work to do." She wanted to scold him, to tell him to rest, to tell him he wasn't alone anymore. But before she could speak, General Vasker stormed in with Ryan, their faces grim. "Erin, Evan, we intercepted Drenther communications." Ryan placed a datapad on the table. It projected something that made Erin's blood freeze. Chemical formulas, DNA strands, containment units, biohazard warnings. "It's a plague," Ryan explained. "Engineered to attack Archean DNA specifically. First strain kills in days. Each mutation spreads faster." Erin felt her breath stop. "A weapon to wipe out my entire species." "Exactly," Ryan said. "And it's nearly complete." "Where?" Evan asked, already swinging his legs off the bed. "Blackspire Station," Vasker answered. "Deep inside Drenther territory." Erin stared in horror. Blackspire was known for one thing: experiments no empire wanted to admit existed. To infiltrate it was suicide. "We need a fleet," Erin insisted. "A full strike." "No," Ryan shook his head. "If we send a fleet, the Drenther launch the weapon instantly. Millions die. Then what do you suggest?" Ryan exchanged a look with Evan, a silent communication between men who had fought the impossible together. "A small team," Evan said. "Stealth entry," Ryan added. "Infiltration, extraction, destruction," Evan finished. Erin stepped forward in alarm. "You're still injured." Evan stood anyway, pain tightening his jaw. "Doesn't matter." "It matters to me," she snapped. He paused, meeting her eyes. For a heartbeat, the calm mask slipped. He looked tired, human, mortal, but beneath that unshakable resolve. "Princess, if I don't go, your people die." Erin swallowed hard. "Then I'm going with you." All 3 men stared at her. "Erin, this is human warfare," Ryan said carefully. "Stealth, sabotage, death from shadows. Not open combat." "I don't care." Evan's voice was low. "You'll follow my orders?" "Yes." "You'll forget honor, pride, tradition?" Erin hesitated, but only for a heartbeat. "Yes." "Then you come." Within hours, they gathered the team. Human Command had sent 3 more specialists: Lisa Grant, explosives expert; Marcus Webb, master hacker; Casey Liu, sniper with unmatched accuracy. Erin expected chaos. Instead, she found something else: quiet efficiency. Humans didn't train like Archeans. They didn't boast. They didn't shout. They prepared. Every movement had purpose. Every decision had reason. It almost frightened her. The mission planning lasted 6 hours, but felt like 20. Evan and Ryan led it like they were solving a complex puzzle rather than planning a suicide run. Erin tried to keep up. Multiple infiltration paths. Contingency maps. Extraction timelines. Contingency for the contingency. "When things go wrong, and they will go wrong," Ryan said, "we adapt." Erin frowned. "Archeans don't retreat from a plan. Humans don't cling to a failing one." Evan replied softly. Their words stung, because they were true. The next morning, they left in a stolen Drenther supply ship, rusted, ugly, but perfect for deception. Erin wore the same stealth suit Evan had given her. It felt strange, light, flexible, and silent. No honor markings. No clan symbols. Just pure function. "Remember," Evan said while checking her suit. "Stealth first. Violence only when necessary." "Understood." Ryan tapped his earpiece. Approaching Blackspire, Erin felt her chest tighten as the colossal, spiked structure came into view, hovering in orbit around a dying red star. Its exterior glowed with weapon arrays. The place radiated death. Marcus cracked the docking code in seconds, and they slipped through automated security. The airlock opened. Cold. Silent. Endless metallic halls. Evan held up a fist, silent signal. Everyone froze. Then he pointed forward. The mission began. They moved like ghosts. Not a sound. Not a breath wasted. Erin was amazed and unnerved at how naturally humans blended into shadows. At first, she tried to move as quietly, but Evan touched her arm lightly. "Don't force silence," he whispered. "Let the suit do the work." The team reached a junction and split, Ryan's team taking high ground, Evan leading Erin and Derek toward the biolabs. They encountered their first patrol minutes later, 3 Drenther soldiers. Erin instinctively tensed for battle, but Evan raised 2 fingers. "Wait. Observe. Choose the easiest path." When the patrol turned, Evan moved, swift, silent, deadly. 1 quick strike each. 3 bodies lowered silently to the floor. Erin stared in awe. He hadn't even broken rhythm. This wasn't war. This was surgery. As they crept deeper into the station, alarms blared suddenly. "They found something," Marcus whispered through comms. "Maybe a body. Maybe a hack attempt. But the station is on alert." Erin felt her pulse spike. Evan didn't even flinch. "Then we go faster." She followed him into the deadliest mission of her life, realizing something profound. Her people fought with honor. Humans fought to survive. And in this moment, against a plague that could end her entire species, she was grateful humans weren't like her people. Blackspire Station detonated behind them in a blinding eruption of fire and collapsing metal. The stolen Drenther ship rattled under the shockwave as Evan wrestled with the controls, sweat dripping down his temple. All around them, alarms screamed and smoke filled the cabin, but the team stayed silent. Every breath held until the explosion dimmed behind the viewport. Only when the last fragment of Blackspire drifted away did Ryan finally exhale. "Mission complete," he muttered. Erin felt her knees weaken with relief. She turned to Evan. His hands shook slightly on the controls, but his eyes were steady, focused, alive. "You did it," she whispered. He glanced at her, managing the smallest, exhausted smile. "We did it." The return journey was strangely quiet. Exhaustion dulled everyone's voices. Even Lisa, usually cheerful, sat in silence, staring at the stars drifting past. Marcus monitored the stolen ship's unstable engines. Casey cleaned her rifle without a word. Erin sat beside Evan, watching him lean back in his seat, eyes half closed. He looked human, not a weapon, not an operative, a person who had given everything to save her people. When they reached Archeon space, they were met not by parades or cheers, but by an escort of silent warships, ordered by the Emperor to keep the mission secret. The cure was rushed to Archeon scientists, where human and Archeon medical teams worked side by side. Within weeks, a vaccine spread across the Empire. Billions lived because of that mission, but only a handful would ever know why. Evan spent those weeks recovering again, bandages wrapped around his ribs, shoulder immobilized, countless bruises marking his skin. Erin stayed with him through every moment, refusing to leave his side. One night, she found him standing alone on the balcony outside their quarters. The city lights reflected in his eyes. He looked troubled. "You should be resting," she said gently. "Can't sleep," he murmured. "Too much on my mind." She stepped beside him. "Blackspire." "Partly. Mostly the people on it." He exhaled slowly. "Even when they're enemies, I still see their faces." Erin rested her hand on his. "You saved billions. No one else could have done what you did." "That doesn't make the cost easier," he said quietly. She squeezed his hand tighter. "You don't have to carry it alone." For the first time since they'd met, Evan let himself lean into her, just slightly, small, but meaningful. Their peace didn't last long. Within days, Drenther diplomats requested negotiations, forced by the destruction of their bioweapon program and the loss of Meridian. Erin went as her father's representative. Evan, still injured, accompanied her as advisor. The talks were brutal. 30 years of hatred filled the conference halls. Generals shouted. Delegates stormed out. But Evan remained calm through it all, suggesting compromises, reading body language, cutting through posturing with simple truths. Erin watched him work, his intelligence, his patience, his empathy, and felt something warm bloom in her chest. On the final day, Drenther's lead commander, War Marshal Krozak, approached Evan privately. Aaron watched from across the chamber, tense. "You are the human who destroyed Blackspire," Krozak said. Evan didn't deny it. "My brother died there," the marshal growled. Aaron reached for her weapon, but froze when Evan raised his hand calmly. "I'm sorry," Evan said quietly. "He died in a war that should have ended long before that battle. I didn't want your people extinct. I wanted the killing to stop." Krozak stared at him for a long, heavy moment. Then he nodded once. "Perhaps we both lost too much," he said before walking away. Hours later, the treaty was signed. The war was over. Peace, fragile but real, settled across the galaxy. But even with peace, something else had changed. Something between Aaron and Evan. One evening after the treaty signing, Evan stood again on their balcony, just as he had before. Aaron joined him silently, watching the stars. "Your mission is complete," she said softly. "If you want to return to Earth." He turned to her, surprised. "Do you want me to leave?" "No," she whispered. "But I thought you might." Evan shook his head slowly. "I chose to stay long before the war ended." She stepped closer, heartbeat quickening. "Why?" He looked into her eyes, clear, steady, honest. "Because somewhere between being your assignment and being your partner, I fell in love with you." Aaron's breath caught. Warmth spread through her chest. "Evan." He cupped her cheek gently. She leaned into his touch without hesitation. "I love you too," she whispered. Their kiss was soft at first, careful, uncertain. Then deeper, as if both were releasing years of fear and tension. When they finally pulled apart, Evan's forehead rested against hers. "What now?" she asked. "Now," he said, smiling. "We live. We protect. We build something better." Months passed. Peace held. Trade routes reopened. Aaron advised the Emperor on military reforms, integrating human tactics into Archeon strategy. Evan trained special forces. Together, they stopped pirate raids, negotiated minor disputes, and built the foundations of a united future. One night, watching the stars from their balcony, Evan asked, "Ready for the next mission?" Aaron smiled and took his hand. "Always." Because now, they weren't just allies. Not just a political marriage. Not just survivors of war. They were partners. Warriors. Symbols of a united galaxy. And the galaxy had learned a powerful truth. Never underestimate humans. They looked gentle. They looked fragile. But humans were the most dangerous species in the stars. Because when they fought for someone they loved, they became unstoppable. And Aaron, proud warrior of the Archeon Empire, was glad, eternally glad, that one of those unstoppable humans was hers.